47 Ronin, it's based on a real story, a very famous story. And this is a kind of reimagination.
There's the history of the 47 Ronin, which was about Lord Asano and the revenge of his men. Our idea was to tell a story of the valor of those men, but view it through the eyes of a fantasy.
Action!
47 Ronin. It's a very challenging project. This story is the most famous samurai story in Japan.
But it's never been done by Hollywood. And the culture of Japan, it's a very specific culture. It's a culture that's incredibly dense. And so it was about paying respect to it by making it our own.
He's going to be dismounting on his right. Is that going to be a problem?
No.
Right?
That's the samurai way.
All right.
And Hiro has been so incredibly helpful to all of us and helping us embrace the world and understand the culture because it's so complex making this film. It's a very multi-layered process. Couple that with shooting the film in London and Budapest, you're working with all the departments, you're really building something.
We were really world creating from the ground up. Every single thing you see in the film that's in the frame is created from scratch. And we had the best artist on hand for that.
Penny Rose is fantastic. I feel she's taken the authenticity of the world and the period, but put her own flair on it so it has a really modern vibe to it.
They wanted a very glamorous and quite strong look to it, and they wanted a colour differential between the groups. So we've done Akko, which is the happy place in red. We've done Kira's world, which is the villain place, in purples. And then the sort of godlike group, the Shogun, are golds with little hints of turquoise, which suggest jewelled jade flavour. The Japanese armour. It's very impressive because it's all plastic. We made the prototype here in leather, and this wonderful factory in Budapest emulated this look, and it worked beautifully.
Are you ready?
Another thing that's been fun about the project is that we also have big sets. They're larger than life.
What we would do is we would look at real structures in Japan, photograph them to death, and recreate it in our way.
And we're enhancing those with an environment that hopefully the audience will believe it was there. We're digitally scanning the whole set so that we've got that as a computer model for later on. And so over there will be a 100-foot tall donjon, multiple courtyards. And then beyond this whole environment is paddy field. And so we've got the perfect world of seeing close-up stuff is real and the pixels are in the background.
So we used visual effects to build the dream of Japan. But at the same time, we built the big sets. And the set where the massive epic battle takes place is a perfect example.
Because it's a stunt set as well, it can't just be built to look good, it's also going to be built for people to climb on and jump on.
And bang! That'll do it.
One of the biggest challenges for us was that in the historical attack of the 47 Ronin, it was more of a sharp assassination.
Folks, this isn't a real thing.
What we wanted to do was something different, to have a bigger scale to it.
You literally... Okay.
Few against many is the theme. It's a kind of multi-pronged attack.
So tonally, we have a very balanced film because you have great action. You have spectacle, and then you have characters coming together.
Now, we are 47.
One of the things that I'm most proud of in the film is the actors. You've got everything from veteran actors to up-and-coming talent.
So for myself and the other actors, it's exciting to be working in this world. And the gravity of some of these moments that we're reenacting really hit. The seppuku sequence. You're tapping into something so uniquely Japanese and so profound.
It's a very dramatic scene. 47 men are going to commit seppuku. I wouldn't let them get dressed till the 11th hour. It had to look absolutely immaculate. And the set was beautiful that day, so the combination was really terrific.
From the rehearsal, we created the seppuku scene together. So physically, mentally, we shared a lot. It was deep and real.
That's a wrap. Thank you very much.
So everyone is in concert working on how to achieve the intimacy and the scope at the same time.
47 Ronin. This is a great chance to introduce our culture to the world. The best balance between authenticity and fantasy.
47 Ronin is a transportation ticket to a different world, a world that we created.
Why did you come for me?
Those who enslaved you have taken over our land.
I need your help.
In 47 Ronin, I get to play Kai. He's a kind of mysterious figure at the opening of the film, and then when we discover him older, he's a tracker. He has utility, he's not accepted.
I would rather have been killed by that beast than saved by a half-breed.
The notion of bringing an outsider into the film, it just added to that whole fantasy world. And telling that story through Keanu was really powerful.
One, action!
I love physical acting. I love fight scenes.
Where did you learn to fight like that?
From demons. The story. I've been trained by the Tengu lords. This kind of mythical style. A lot of one-handed technique. And then also my character gets sent away to a place called Dejima. And basically gets used as a fighting dog. So I bring in this element of pit fighting techniques. Elbows, knees, and punches. Win at all odds. Very intense.
Bam! 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 Today is your last day!
And Keanu, what was such a bonus was that he's unrelenting. Almost to the point where you have to say, that was great, Keanu, we've got it. No, I can make it 0.1% better.
I moved that time. Yeah.
Keanu Reeves really has that kind of hunger, that gut thing about wanting to prove himself.
Good fun.
That's unusual for an actor that successful.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
They told me you were hurt.
It's nothing, my lady.
But the great thing about Keanu, he's not just an action star. There's a love story with him and this woman, Mika, and he can play both those roles.
And working with Ko, we don't have a lot of scenes in the film together. We have a few very key moments, but it worked.
It's very interesting when you watch his takes and you watch his close-ups. He's got so much emotion and stories going on behind his eyes.
He embodied Kai better than I could ever imagine.
So these two cameras will be below the tree, and then that one will just reveal us.
But Keanu is more than just an actor. He's a collaborator on every level, from story meetings to design ideas.
I just think it's cool, like, to be like down here, like when you.
He wants to know what cameras we're using and how we're doing the visual effects. We work together every single step of the way.
I've enjoyed that process. To be able to get in there and play a little bit, it's been a unique experience, a great acting opportunity, a great role.
We believe you are the only one who can help us.
I'm looking forward to do some more. I've never fought with this before. Now we're filming. Let's rock.
3, 2, 1.
In 47 Ronin, the action is out of control. They're real people. It's real fighting. And we have Gary Powell as the stunt coordinator, and he did an absolutely incredible job.
I'll just try and keep it as real as possible. If you are really in a situation where you're fighting someone, what would you really do?
Kick puts you there, but where you're sort of open to, and now you go.
Each individual fight's choreographed. We do videos, we show the directors, producers and everything, and they like it all, and we start showing the actors.
I started training basic katana. I've never done any two-handed sword, so that's a whole new world. But Sonata's son, he's had classical training, so he's been really helpful with technique and approach. Every strike must have meaning, and how strikes flow into each other.
Keanu was a great learner, but also we tried to find out the contrast between Keanu's style and my style.
Kai's more about attack. It's kind of guerrilla warfare.
And of course, Oishi trained the traditional way and samurai movement, so it was a great mixture.
After this, and of course, to see those two working together and fighting together against each other and with each other. That's every fanboy's dream.
We're escaping from Dutch Island as soon as possible.
Eyes all right? And bound!
With the tournament, there's all these fighters coming in, and all of a sudden, it's my turn, and everybody's like, you know, who's this guy?
It was a challenging shoot because, you know, you've got someone who's 6 foot tall fighting someone who's technically 8 foot tall. Originally, his character was going to be all CG. Then I found Neil, who's 7'7", the tallest guy in England.
Get in there!
The suit's hot. Where's the British weather when you need it?
But what was sort of quite funny is when we started choreographing the fights, 2 guys would do it who were the same size and go, yeah, this works. So we start teaching Neil, and all of a sudden, his size makes a huge difference. Because when he puts his arm out, put his sword on top of that, that's like a 10-foot reach. So we have to sort of then rejig it to match his size.
And action. Take him apart.
In the fight, you know, I'm looking down, I'm used to that, but it's probably tougher for Keanu because he's always fighting, kind of looking up.
For me, you work high-low. You know, you go for the feet, try to get inside. But Neil, he's really considerate. It's like, basically, Keanu, if you don't duck here, I'm gonna take your head off. But I'll make sure if you don't duck, I don't kill you. Thanks, Neil. Thanks a lot.
Be a half-speed rehearsal, guys.
Tonight we are at Lord Kira's castle.
Roll 3 cameras. 3D, rolling.
Where our intrepid heroes are going to come and assault and also to get revenge against Lord Kira.
Obviously the Ronin fighting the guards is just chaos. Mass mayhem and big battle. Then there's obviously the Oishi-Kira fight.
So exciting. Finally face to face.
We spent a long time, day and night, fighting. Every shot we discussed a lot. How can we create this moment?
Kira and Oishi are two classic samurai warriors that start a fight in traditional form, and then halfway through that fight, Oishi becomes this sort of crazed person. Hero is so fast, and Tad just puts in 100%.
We met finally one-on-one, and it's a great moment.
An inch.
Keanu and Hiro and the actors have learned their swordcraft so well. It's pretty amazing.
With the amount of fights we've done on this film, you can get worn out. So for them to be giving it that much effort at the end is all credit to them.
There's some arrows, there's sword play. We've been in a couple of countries, in the mud, in the rain. It's been fun.
Here we go. Listen.
One of the things that we talked about along the way was that the fantasy of this film is going to be based on Japanese folklore.
Japanese mythology is so fascinating. It makes it otherworldly. It really lets us put a distinct, fantastic stamp on the film.
When we started out to make this film, we wanted to put together a hunt unlike what you've seen before. It's like a Bourne Identity car chase, except with horses.
The whole idea is this majestic beast that's been poisoned, it's gone rabid. There was a previous that was done back in LA, it hasn't really changed, but the creature has changed a lot.
This mythical beast, it's not really a Kirin. It was sort of our own creation, where we wanted to make something that could live in that world. So we said, we'll take the horns from an elk, and I want to take part of that and that and that, and we'll make our own.
This is Kirin hunt. In this sequence right here, the Kirin kind of runs through some people.
It's a challenging shoot. It takes place on 3 locations, inside the woods, outside in the big open field, back in the woods, which was done at Great Windsor Park and Hatfield House, spread out over a few weeks.
I'm from Kazakhstan. My name is Dauren. This horse is from Spain.
We had a load of riders from Kazakhstan, brought those over because there's not many riders in England with that look. We have the horses that we can put the actors on at gallop, so we can do all the nice close-ups, but we can't have real horses running flat out and falling over. So we have mechanical horses.
Hand roll.
There's a lot of visual effects there because obviously the Kirin's not real.
So it's all about designing a path where the Kirin will be, making sure that the actors are looking at where it will be, and making sure that there's real-world interaction with the invisible creature.
From a physical acting standpoint, it's just been exciting to be doing the rehearsals and go from the script version to its living aspect. It should be epic.
The Oni is an ogre. The idea was that the Dutch had bought this Oni as a creature out of the woods, and they used it as a fighting behemoth.
I played the character of the Oni. He's a vicious character. I heard they were casting for somebody really tall who would have to move well. I had an audition with Gary Powell and was pretty much offered the part there.
Yeah, Neil is 7'7", a professional athlete. He played basketball, and he's got great command of his physical skills.
I've never done CGI before. Basically, I was in a carrot suit for about a week, which was not a good time.
I wanted to get a suit that was more coloured the same as the Oni would be in the end, so that once we've overlaid Neil with our CG creature, the reflections he's giving off are the right colour.
You know, to see this great body moving gracefully and doing the impossible, he's amazing.
My first reaction to the tank. What? They are so scary.
In Tengu, Kai takes Oishi to go and get some swords from the people he grew up with. And in Japanese myth, they're bird men, and Carl wanted them to be more men that had self-mutilated themselves.
Scars in the head, cutting off their own ears. Their eyes have grown large because they're in a cave for years and years. After numerous drawings, we gave those instructions to our team of prosthetic designers.
We're making one of the Tengu monks this morning. We start off with hiding Andy's hair. We put a bald cap on him. We have 2 ear pieces so they've lost their ears. We have a large face piece, little head piece which goes on, and several lip pieces which are basically scars. So it took about 9 pieces in total. We're just going to define a few areas with grease paint, give it a little bit more contrast.
And action.
This is one of our biggest sequences. We're doing what we're calling the BAM. So we had the storyboards and we turned that into a moving animatic. There's one shot which was a continuous figure of 8 through everybody fighting.
3, 2, 1.
So that involved doing a lot of motion control because we need to repeat the same moves with Tengu in, Tengu out. That was a bit of a headache because the motion control rig has a massive arm on it that we had to move, making sure we got the best possible take that we can then reinsert with the passes later on. Carl's brief has been to make it as frenetic, as weird and tripped out as possible. So it's been an exciting sequence to shoot.
The witch is a Kitsune witch, which is a fox, which is a shapeshifter. She's sort of the seductive and taunting Lady Macbeth-style character.
And I will give you all you desire.
Rinko Kikuchi's spectacular. I think she's sexy. I think she's duplicitous. She's kind of always scheming and playing.
She has several powers. One of her main ones is that her dress is a creature. And we're trying to do that in an interesting way, and clever camera tricks or clever reveals rather than seeing her blend from one character to the other.
The final fight between Keanu and Rinko was intended to push the fantasy more, instead of it just being a dragon that you see out of traditional movies. It's really more of a serpentine character, which is a Nure Onna, a serpent with the head of a woman. When we set out to shoot that scene, we wanted to get as much in camera as we could of the fighting, and Keanu really helped bring an authenticity to it. And we have this massive epic battle.
Crane up. Action.
In the 47 Ronin, we took inspiration from a whole menagerie of fantastical creatures, and we tried to see them through the lens of a Western audience.
Good night.